What's up, everybody? This your boy, Bless the Damn Best, coming at you live this morning from Augusta, Georgia, with a very, very, very important message for the family today. See, this particular message is so important because this is the message that's going to make us win. This is why we win. Okay, this message that I'm going to bring this morning is about the Majara spirit that's only found in foundational Black Americans. Okay, I don't remember exactly when it was, but Tariq started turning the phrase, and he like explained it over time, and I noticed that all of the other Black people from other places that really, really got to them. You know, they'll call in, what's this Majara spirit? All this, you made it up, all kind of shit like that. Well, I look at it like this. Everything is made up at some point. Everything is made up. But just from the context of him speaking about it, I could figure out what it was. And he said the Majara spirit was put into foundational Black Americans to punish the world. We can't be broken. That's why we are going to get what we are owed. It ain't no way to stop it because of the Majara spirit that was put inside of us because of our ancestors' struggle on this land. They struggled and won, and the victory goes on. But I'm gonna let Tariq Nasheed take it away, and he gonna jump right into it, gloves off. So, foundational Black American family, enjoy this very, very important message. Here we go.
We've been here longer than damn near everybody on this land. We've been here for a long time. We've been had an ethnogenesis. We're a whole different ethnic group. We have a different spiritual energy, ladies and gentlemen. I call that spirit Majara. There's a spiritual energy that we have that other people do not have. And that spiritual energy was given to us to teach the world a lesson. This is why our spiritual energy is so influential. This is why we're emulated all over the world. Nobody's more emulated than foundational Black Americans, ladies and gentlemen. We are emulated by choice, not by force. Do you understand what I'm saying? There's a difference between groups emulating and groups being colonized. See, a lot of other groups take on certain European ideologies because they were forced to do so. That's called colonization. That's different. People willingly emulate us because of our spiritual essence, ladies and gentlemen. They emulate us all over the world. There's an energy that we have that's very unique. I want us to really, really recognize that energy. It's a very special and powerful energy. It's a spirit that was cultivated through the hardships, trials, tribulations, perseverance, creativity, and adaptation of the nature of foundational Black Americans. We've been through something no other group has been through, and we survived it. And you got to understand, when you survive some type of hardship, any type of hardship, and you come out with your head up, that's always an admirable thing. That's what most movies are about, people overcoming some kind of tragedy and find triumph through that tragedy. There's always a level of respect that you have to give to them. No matter how many bumps and bruises the person got, if they're still standing at the end of the movie, you got to respect that. We got the most bumps and bruises and abuse that no other group has suffered for centuries, and we stood up, dusted ourselves off, and said, we're still here. You still didn't break us. We're still not fleeing. and we're still going to have the dignity that was instilled in us. You understand? People recognize that. They wish they could have that. You understand? A Kamala Harris wish she can have that. You don't give that to a Kamala damn Harris, a Hindu bedwench. You don't give that away. I don't give away the dignity of my lineage to people who didn't earn it. You don't get to come over here, Dinesh D'Souza, from your funky little Mumbai slum, disrespecting us and get the same type of respect that we've earned. You don't get to align yourself and say, hey, I'm just like you. I'm a person of color just like you. No, you're not. You don't get to come over here and be like, hey, nigga, I'm an American too. I'm from Africa and I'm an African American just like you. You and I are the same. No, we're not. No disrespect, but we are different. You don't get to latch on to our lineage valor. You understand? You don't get to latch on to that. We went through too much to just give that away. And that's the thing. A lot of times people try to align with us so that we can give our valor to them and make it comparative so they can benefit from it. You understand? Remember some years ago, they were running around saying, being LGBT, that's just like being black. Remember that? They were doing that real heavy about a decade or so ago. And we had to shut that down. Like, no. Because see, they were doing that in order to get certain benefits and resources by comparing themselves to us and aligning themselves with us just so they can get the benefits and resources, just like with the whole black and brown thing. See, I tell Claude Anderson told us years ago to stop with that black and brown stuff. Because the brown, they've never persevered like we have. They never done what we did. They never stood up like we did. They never fought like we did. But every time we get something going, we run around, got people talking about some black and brown. So when the rewards of the perseverance starts to get divvied out, the brown gets prioritized off of something they didn't even do, something they didn't even work for. You just came over and walked into our struggle and benefited from it. Y'all stop disrespecting your goddamn ancestors doing that bullshit. See, I'm real big on respecting the ancestors. I'm so big on that, family. That's where our spirit comes from, man. Some of our spirit comes from the Most High, and it also comes from the ancestral energy, the ancestral spirit, man. That shit is real. Ancestral energy is very real. You understand what I'm saying? This is why, let me get deep for a minute. Can we get deep? Am I getting too deep? Give me a thumbs up. I want to get too deep tonight. Because I know we like to talk trash and BS around. Do y'all want to hear some bullshit or some real shit? What y'all want to hear tonight? I might have to get a little deep. Because we're going to have to respect that ancestral energy. We're going to have to respect it, man. It's real. Our ancestors, man, they're with us. They're here. That energy doesn't die. Energy is just transferred. Their energy is still here. And that energy is pure. And the energy is reciprocal. That energy wants vengeance to a certain degree. It wants justice. That energy wants justice. That's why Lake Lanier is always getting some damn justice on somebody. Every damn week somebody get pulled down at Lake Lanier because that ancestral energy is in there. Spirits and water go together, man. Water holds spirits majorly. Another dude got caught up at Lake Lanier a couple of days ago. That water ain't playing. That ancestral energy is real. Remember, in Montgomery, right before Fade and the water popped off, some sisters went over there and poured libations in the water over there because that was a slave port. So some sisters came and paid homage and did a root work ceremony 2 hours before the Fade in the water thing. And when the white boys start jumping on the brothers start popping up out that water. That was that ancestral energy kicking in. We better understand it and recognize it. Ancestral energy is real. We gotta respect it. When you disrespect it, it's about reciprocity. It's about revenge. That's why you see a lot of these rappers dying who go around disrespecting people's graves. Foolio and all of those dudes. It was another dude. It was I want to say he was in Philly somewhere. Where was this guy? Just got killed a few weeks ago. I can't think of his name.
In
But
Philly, PNB folk.
What's his name, brother?
PNB folk.
Yeah. He was out there at somebody's graveyard disrespecting them, digging up the grave of his ops. Then he ended up getting killed. You understand? Foolio and all those dudes out there playing in graveyards, disrespecting the dead. You better understand something. When that op dies, the ancestral energy goes back to the spiritual essence of who that person really was. See, what was imposed on you, that's not who you really are. What's imposed on you, you being in the hood, you being in gang fights, that's something that was imposed on you. That's not your spiritual essence. That's why you grow out of it at a certain age. You shake the bullshit off of you at a certain age, and you get to where you need to be spiritually once you get older. Just like Malcolm X. Malcolm X was in the streets. Once he got a little bit older, he shook the bullshit off of him because that was imposed on him. Then he tapped in to his real spiritual essence. A lot of us do that. Once you get to a certain age, once you reach a certain epiphany, you start tapping into who you are supposed to be spiritually. So a lot of the stuff that you would do when you were younger, you realize, okay, I was doing that because of outside influences. You understand? So you'll take some of those outside influences, you'll take some of those mistakes and say, hey, let me use this to strengthen up who I'm supposed to really be, what my real spirit is supposed to be. See, that's the great thing about Foundational Black Americans. We have a dichotomy within our system. See, a lot of people like to point out the ratchetness and the depravity that we see in the media, the sexy reds and all of that filth that we see. But underneath that, there's a spiritual essence that's there. We just got to tap into it. You understand? That's why I do criticize the sexy reds, but underneath that, I know there's some real shit in there. There's a real awakening there that just has not been tapped into. People like that, they've been incentivized to promote the ratchetness. They've been incentivized to do that. You understand? And eventually, people shake that off. Like Maya Angelou. Maya Angelou, wasn't she working at a hoe house at one point? Maya Angelou was doing something strange for a little piece of change. You dig? A lot of those women like Maya Angelou and all of those, they would be in brothels and all that stuff, but after a while, they tap back into their spiritual essence of who they really were, and they became iconic. They became people who were extremely respected within the community. They tapped into their real spiritual journey and being. You understand? And that's what our spirit is about as Foundational Black Americans. We've had so much garbage imposed on us, and we still find ways to maintain our dignity. Like my grandmother, the sweetest person in the world. You always hear me brag about my grandmother, just a spiritual angel. Now, before I was born, and my mother would tell me stories, my grandmother and grandfather, unfortunately, they were bootleggers. They had to bootleg whiskey. They had to sell illegal whiskey in order to make ends meet. Some of you guys, if you got great-grandparents or grandparents in the South, y'all know what I'm talking about. Your granny and them used to make that damn whiskey too. Raise your hand if y'all had some bootleggers in your family. If you're from Mississippi, Alabama, South Carolina, or Georgia, there's a damn bootlegger in your family. If you come from that lineage, somebody was making some damn whiskey. All right? That was the hustle. That's how they used to trap back in the day. All right? That's how they used to get out. Granny and them used to be out there slinging that whiskey. They'd be out there in the woods. They had some little bootleg distillery out there in the woods. You understand? It was illegal. They were breaking the law. They did what they had to do, but they were still some of the greatest people on earth. They still had this spiritual essence. They had to do what they had to do to make ends meet. You understand? So just because we see certain ratchet type behavior, that's not the essence of who the people are. After a while, they learn how to shake that stuff off and then tap back into their Majara spirit and tap into the journey that they're supposed to take. That's the great thing about us. That's why we have so many iconic foundational Black Americans, because we use some of the things that's imposed on us to survive that, to tap back into who we're supposed to be. You understand? That's the great thing about us. That's why so many hustlers, street cats, even though they're in the streets, they still know how to look out for the community. My good friend Freeway Rick, one of the biggest drug dealers in the country at one point, he actually started a lot of legitimate businesses for people. Spiritually, phenomenal brother. He was doing what he had to do. But spiritually, phenomenal brother, good spirit. He launched the careers of a lot of people. I think he invested in Anita Baker's early career. You understand? So there was a lot of us in foundational Black American society who had to do what they had to do based on the circumstances externally imposed on us. And if we survive long enough, we learn how to shape our essence back into where it's supposed to be, which is spiritual dignity. Hope I didn't get too deep. I just want us to understand how important our lineage is and who we are as a people. That's why we don't let people criticize us. I don't let no people criticize us, because what happens is you got these people who come from completely failed states, who come over here and then they find somebody within our society who has circumstances imposed on them and then try to point the finger talking about, well, look at the Black culture. You don't get to do that. You don't get to play that game, because that Black kid on the corner, the Black girl on the corner or whatever, after a while, they're going to wake up and they're going to shake off what they need to shake off and tap back into their spiritual essence, and they're going to be good. Your ass is the one who had to flee, because y'all never tap back into anything. Y'all over there just depravity on depravity to the point where you got to bounce. So you're not going to be able to come over here and point no fingers at us about nothing. That's why I'm hell on tethers who think they're going to flee over here and say anything negative about us. Like the Myron Gaines and all of these people. You don't get to come over here and say nothing while you're over here because of us. It was us who helped get you here. So you don't come over here with any form of disrespect. Let's get some other people in here. You good, Smooth? What's up?